My name is Rabbi Susan Stone, and I am sadly honored to be here to mourn with you as we memorialize and remember Sally. Let us find comfort in the words of the ancient sage. God, what are we that you are mindful of us? Or indeed, those who come after us that you take account. Our lives are as vanity, for our days pass away as a shadow. In the morning we flourish and blossom forth, in the evening we are cut down and wither. You turn us to contrition and demand, return, O ye children. If you were wise, you would consider your end. When you die, you shall carry nothing away. Your glory shall not descend after you. But trust this, God does redeem the souls of the servants. None of them who trust shall be forsaken. Our service this afternoon is really highlighted by remembrances of some people very special to Sally. And please, I hope you hear their words and their loving remembrance as to the essence of who she was. I've been asked to bring little teachings, Jewish teachings, that might highlight some of her wonderful characteristics. And as Craig and I were talking yesterday, and he reiterated for me the deep love that she had for animals. I thought of King Solomon, who was told to have been able to speak with the birds, and that he learned wisdom from the birds. So I'd like to think about Sally as learning wisdom from those many animals, cats especially, but understand there were 18 dogs between the two of you over the course of your life that you've rescued. To learn wisdom from all of creation that obviously is reflected in her artwork, but you will hear mostly from her friends. I'd like to ask Tracy Turkisher to come forward.
Sorry, guys. It wasn't me. My cue.
You can pass, Trace.
Let somebody else go first, Tracy.
Okay. You pass?
No, I have something written. But
Yeah.
Well, just
I
look
can
back.
barely-
Somebody else will get
Yeah.
up.
Pass.
Pretend to be reading this. Anybody else want to read it? Because she can't find it.
I have it. I just got a plan.
May I offer this prayer, and please look. It comes from Psalms. I lift up my eyes unto the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. By day, the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will keep your life, your coming and your going, now and forevermore. Amen. Craig, might I ask you to come forward then?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm going to try and keep it together. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's so hard to sit down and actually write something to say because the whole process is so surreal. You feel like you're in a bad cartoon and there's no commercials to help you out. So I wrote, they say when you lose a limb, there's a lingering sensation of it still being attached, and I feel that way about losing my Sally. I'm in complete shock and just doing my best to put one foot in front of the other. Sally Reydman loved me with her whole heart despite my many flaws. She loved me for who I am, not for what I had or what I could do for her. And when you find somebody like that, you better hold on to them. I loved her so much that it transformed my life. We were lucky to find each other and share that real love and intimacy that allows us to live as fully human beings rather than merely existing, because when you don't love, you're merely existing. Sally was an amazing, beautiful, talented, and passionate lady who rocked my world. I'll always be grateful for the magical times we shared despite disagreeing about different things. We were so, so happy in the final weeks of her life, from Valentine's Day on. I hope that all of you get to experience such joy in your own lives. I wrote a poem to help me heal, and I dedicate it to Sal, Mighty Might Reydman. Mighty, as in that, and might, because she was small. Thank you for being here, for her and for all of us. God bless you and comfort you. So I'll read this poem I wrote. Okay. How can I face tomorrow when you aren't here anymore? How can the spring cure sorrow like I've never felt before? 100 painful pictures revolve inside my brain, bittersweet, kaleidoscopic as the pain begins again. The morning rain can hide my tears, yet day brings no relief. After one more fretful, restless night made endless by my grief. My dear one, how I miss you so, your soft voice and your touch. I never loved a woman so urgently, so much. You made me want to be the very best that I could be, to soothe your fears and make you laugh, to keep you close to me. Flowers should be banned this year, because the fairest bloom is gone, and this oh-so-darkest hour cancels out a rosy dawn. In time, they say, this too shall pass, like a pea-sized kidney stone. Thinking how we lay together, now you're gone and I'm alone. Farewell, my pal, my love, my queen, my hot, nerdy, mighty might. Too soon, you went away to a strange and distant shore. I hope you find the light there and leave fear at heaven's door. Even if you sometimes wondered, I know in the end you knew I will never love another the way that I love you.
The light of life is a finite flame. Like a candle, life is kindled. It burns, it glows, it gives off rays of warmth and beauty. But soon it fades. Its substance is consumed and is no more. In light we see and we can be seen. The moments of flame dance and our lives are full. But as night follows day, shadows follow the flames and blur our vision. We fail to see and can no longer be seen. Yet we need not despair. Our fate is more than memory. With our lives we give life. We are links in the eternal chain of darkness and death, of light and light. Tracy? Awesome. Thank you.
I'm too tall for this, right? Okay. I've never done this before. I've never written a eulogy for anybody. So this was something. It's something I don't know, I just had it true for Sally. So I'll try to keep it together. It's gone. No, I wrote, your body is away from me now, but there is a window open from my heart to yours. From this window, like the moon, I'll keep sending news secretly. As every single part in the world longs for its counterpart, I will miss you every day. I will miss your warmth, your voice, the joy and ease I felt in your company. I'll miss your laughter, your quick wit, your relentless sense of humor. I will miss and remember the times over the past 30 years we cried too hard, laughed too strongly, sending us running into the bathroom in the middle of a game of Scrabble just to make it to the bathroom, or yelling Donnie Brasco across 2nd Avenue on those late night New York City summer nights that we spent in the East Village. I'll miss sharing our most intimate feelings, our worries, our fears, and our joys. And I'll keep that window open for all of our made-up characters and our uproarious laughter, for Trish and Viv, for Myrna, for taking the zero, for making the Zupa, and for what happened. I'm grateful to have known someone as utterly loving and unique as you. And grateful, too, for being here today with those who loved you and those who you loved most. I'll never have a friend like you. There will never, ever be another Sally. So again, my window will stay open, Sal. And our relationship will continue in this manner until one day I know that I will meet you again. And until then, our every beautiful moment will be alive within me. I love you. Hope you liked it, Sal.
What happened?
Erica, what happened?
Hatzur tamim polo ki kol drachav mishpat, el emunah ve'einav el tzadik v'yashar hu. Hatzur tamim b'chol poal. Mi yomar lo ma tifal hashalit b'matu v'ma'al memitu mechayei morit she'ol v'ya'al. Thy work, O God, is perfect, for all thy ways are justice. A God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right. Who can say what doest thou? Thou bringest death and giveth life. What mortal can demand of thee what hast thou wrought? Thou alone, O God, dost righteously apportion both life and death. In thy hand is the destiny of all souls. Thou wilt not forget us, thy mercy will surely abide with us. Blessed art thou, Judge of truth, who dost ordain death and summon us to life. I'm going to ask Gladys to come speak next, but I'd like to share a story about a biblical figure who lost a child. It's about King David, and I'm reading straight from the biblical text. David fasted and lay all night upon the earth, and the elders of his house arose and stood beside him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not. Neither did he eat food with them. And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died. And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead, for they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spoke to him, and he did not listen to us. How then shall we tell him that the child has died? He may do himself some harm. But when David saw that his servants whispered together, David perceived that the child was dead, and David said to his servants, Has the child died? They answered, The child is dead. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his clothes. He then went to his own house, and when he asked, they set food before him, and he ate. Then his servants said to him, What is this thing that you have done? You fasted and wept for the child while it was alive, but now that the child has died, you rise up and eat. Well, he answered, While the child was alive, I fasted and wept, but now that the child is dead, why should I fast? Can I bring him back? I shall go to him, but he will not return to me. So for a brief moment, this treasured child, this wonderful spirit brightened the days of her now grieving mother and her sister and all of her family and friends. Let those whose sorrow attain, as David did, the strength of resignation to accept life's inevitable decree. May the sweet memories of joyous times past offer consolation in the present and trust in the future. Amen. Gladys?
Thank you.
Well, I didn't write anything because Sally is more than just something written to me, obviously, being her mother. What could I say about Sally? I think one of the most marvelous things that I won't miss it, because it'll be, everything about Sally will always be with me. There will be no missing Sally because she's here with me. And she gave me a lot of grief. She had her problems. She was brilliant. She was beautiful. She was sweet. She was kind. She loved animals. And some of the best memories with Sally that are very positive is that she was hysterically funny. There is nobody ever in my life that I ever could laugh with the way I laughed with Sally. And she was the source of the humor. Don't ask me what she said, but then her sister, truth, right, Lori? She was hysterically funny. She was a young woman who had a lot of problems. She had depression, but by God, just like a lot of comedians I've noticed who have depression, they're incredibly funny. I guess that's what keeps them alive, it keeps them alive while it's going. So, what I'll miss for Sally is not being able to pick up the telephone and call her and talk about problems and et cetera, et cetera. But I haven't cried about Sally, and I don't think I will, because as far as I'm concerned, she's alive with me. I didn't know I was going to say that, but there it is. Thank you for coming and for loving Sally, all of you, and probably respecting her and all of the things she could. I never saw these paintings, by the way. This is the first time I've ever seen them. I don't know where they came from, but they're great, wouldn't you say? They're great. Yeah, she was a young woman who lived with, like many, many talented people, she lived with a lot of lowered feelings, and yet she was beautiful. She was beautiful to be with and to live with, and mostly to laugh with. That I'll never forget. Thank you.
Thank you. Life offers us the gift of so many blessings. None is more precious than the love of family and friends. In the strength and compassion of parents, in the mutual devotion of husband and wife, of brother and sister, we find the security of love. The landscape of our years is peopled with the presence of open hearts that exact no price for the gift of themselves. When a loved one dies, sadness is a normal response. Two people cannot share the best and worst of life in mutual experience and find that absence is trivial. The tribute of love may be the pain of separation. And before I ask Lori to come up, another story, this one about siblings. This was a family of boys. It was Joseph and his brothers. There was one sister, but in this story, just the boys figure. Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, told their father he had died, and went about their lives for many years. As life would have it, fortunes turned, and they ended up in Egypt in front of someone they thought could help them get food. And when Joseph realizes that his brothers are standing in front of him, he sends everyone else out of the room. And he reveals himself to them. He'd been dressed as an Egyptian. He was speaking Egyptian, not Hebrew. He reveals himself, and the first thing he says is I am Joseph, your brother. Is my father still alive? That bond between siblings, that whatever had happened between them, no longer mattered. What mattered was the love they shared, the history of goodness that they shared. And so it's really my honor to ask Lori to come forward to speak.
So, the fact of the matter why my mother hasn't seen these paintings is because my sister, 15 years ago, took them to a photographer's studio to have them photographed, and then never picked them up, along with a ton more. This is just a few of them. It's, was often very hard for me to understand how she could make such amazing artwork and then just let it go. She had none of her artwork up in her house and didn't see the need to. I don't know, I guess there's a lot about my sister I didn't understand. That was one of the facets of her I'd never understood. This series called Sad Cow, she called herself a sad cow, so she's got a whole series of sad cows, which are pretty great. All right, so I wrote something out. My sister died due to complications from a COPD attack, an illness she had been diagnosed with last year. Sally struggled with depression her whole life. It was always my family's fear that she would take her own life. She did not take her own life. It was taken from her, and in some perverse way, it is comforting to know that her pain ended not on her own terms, but more by mistake. It's not easy to have a sibling with mental illness, but I feel there are some real misconceptions about people with mental illness. Those of you who know my sister know that she was hospitalized several times in mental hospitals. All those times my sister went into the mental hospital, it was because she was trying to stay alive. Sally checked herself in on her own volition each time to seek help. She saved herself over and over again. A weak person does not do that. I repeat, it is not the weak who seek help for themselves, it is the strong and the willed who seek their own help. I couldn't understand the depths of my sister's depression, but I very much admired and looked up to her strength and ability to not only seek help, but demand help. My sister also had chronic back pain, which was very often disabling. With all my sister's struggles, I saw her as incredibly strong. She always continued to do artwork. She continued to love and care for our family. She was a friend in many long-term friendships. She was a girlfriend in several long-term relationships. She was a mom to many beloved cats through the years. She volunteered. She traveled. She tried. She didn't give up after the very worst bouts of depression and the ugliest episodes of hopelessness. She really did continue to try. And she loved me. And she supported me. And she made me laugh. I will admit to you all that I am terrified to think of my life without my sister. She was the one person who would do literally anything for me, and she was the one person whose opinion I trusted 100%. It's hard to think about all the years ahead of me without her support and opinion. I'm going to read to you a poem she wrote me 20 years ago that I've carried around in every wallet since then. It was inspired by a trip we took to Costa Rica for 6 weeks. She never knew that I carried it in my wallet along with a letter she wrote me some years ago. There are always things I guess you wished you could have told somebody. Well, the poem she wrote me is entitled For Lori. Do something holy with my love, for mine is that holy. I don't trample on buttercups. I don't forget the blue waters. I don't feed on cactus termites. I have holiness in my brain. My fingertips are warm pearls. You don't know me. Something holy with my love, for mine is that holy. I run towards the seashells. I breathe wet, cool air. My eyes are like monkeys' food. My footprints are perfect. I am the golden frog, a princess, a queen. Treat my love with rose petals. Let it ripen, let it cure. Drink me down, drink me down, drink me. Treat my love with holiness, for mine is that holy. Each morning yellow butterflies come fluttering from my mouth, filling the room aflutter. That's when I eat the perfect toast and jam. That's when I clean my fingers like a cat. You don't know me. So, thanks.
Lori, thank you. Thank you for the reminder, for me, maybe for others. King Saul had terrible bouts of depression and was comforted by David and his music and the harp, and merited to be the king of Israel. So, dear friends, let the thought of this moment be thoughts of tenderness and gratitude. Tenderness because of the woman in whose memory we are now gathered. Gratitude for all that has been lovable throughout the years. Tenderness toward every human frailty. Gratitude for a life known intimately and held in honor. Gratitude for strong ties of family affection. Gratitude for the privilege of knowing and of sharing with one another our experiences of joy and sorrow. Gratitude for opportunities to help and care for one another, which enable us to believe that our lives count. We would not be spared the consciousness of sorrow and loss. As our experience deepens, may our understanding of one another deepen also. And may we win from our joys and sorrows the wisdom of patience and sympathy, the courage to live faithfully, and the confidence that dark hours may have special meanings. And may we gain a deepened sense of the sacredness and purpose of a life well lived. We pray that Sally's memory endure among us all as a blessing. In your own time, O God, when we too are called to enter eternity, may we leave this life secure in the faith that with you is the fountain of life, that in your light we shall see light. The dust returns to the earth as it was, the spirit to God who gave it. May I ask those of you who are able to please rise. El malei rachamim shochein bamromim, hamsei menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina, im kiroshim utohorim kezohar harakia, mazirim et nishmat hachavera shelanu shahachal olama, ba'al harachamim yasireher b'seter kenafav la'olamim, v'yitzur b'tzorcha chaim et nishmata, Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom mishgava, v'nomar, Amen. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest unto the soul of Sally Reydman, who has departed this world. God of mercy, bring her into your presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Be thou her possession, may her repose be peace, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Our service will continue at the cemetery after this final prayer. And after burial at Mount Sinai Cemetery, Sally's family, the Reydman family, would like to invite you back to Corky and Lenny's for a meal of consolation. These words come from Ben Sira. He wrote, "Fear not death, we are destined to die. We share it with all who ever lived and with all who will ever be. Bewail the dead, hide not your grief, do not restrain your mourning. But remember, continuing sorrow is worse than death. When the dead are at rest, let their memory rest. Be consoled when the soul departs. Death is better than a life of pain, and eternal rest than constant sickness. Seek not to understand why. It is too difficult for you. Search not for what is hidden from you. Be not overoccupied with what is beyond you, for you have been shown more than you can understand. As a drop of water in the sea, As a grain of sand on the shore are a person's few days in eternity. The good things in life last for limited days, but a good name endures forever. Our funeral director will be in to give instructions.